Aries, welcome to your reading. We're going to do, I've already laid it, so just to see whether you want to hang around. We're looking at something to do with how to get unstuck in order to start something new that could be rather lucrative. That's at the basis of our reading. And I haven't looked much further, but I can see that's what it's about, with some interesting outcomes for you. So let's dive straight in. We've got you as the Page of Cups, looking at that fish with all his imagination. This is a stage card. Do you see those lines? And then the broiling sea behind. It's interesting. It's looking, the sea is looking rather kind of lively to me today. Sometimes it looks nothing. And he's got lotuses on and he's eyeballing that fish. And I'm looking at his big red sleeves, and his red stockings. So the pages, they're a youthful energy, and they're about messages. And so there's a sort of internal message of something imaginative and loving that you're connecting to here. It might be just a little corner of your consciousness that's sort of woken up. And the way that makes you act in the outside, it's really interesting. Look at this. Strange bedfellows. So we've got them like that, but head to toe. I always find that interesting, as if they're eyeballing each other when that happens. Two majors. So one part of you, as the Empress, wants to create from this imaginative place, but you're in relationship with this idea of justice and balance. So maybe something's holding you back from just sort of going into a pure stage of sort of creativity and fertility. You feel that has to be balanced with balance itself, with some sort of fair treatment of the situation. So it's holding you back somewhat. Let me see what I see about with these two. My hair is sort of, I put so many products in it today, trying to use them all up. I don't know if you ever do that. So I'm looking at all her stars I'm looking at both of their heads. So she's got all the stars of Venus, and then Justice has something that denotes the pineal gland, but also the castellations, the castle, the crown. It's a little bit more structured, it's a little bit less whimsical and imaginative. So it's sort of like your imaginative side wants to get going and fertilize this idea and just dive into it, and off we go. Let's start. We might have something in 9 months. I mean, it could even be the idea of getting pregnant. I don't know if anyone's at that stage in their life. Maybe that's an idea that you want to go for. I mean, this really could be a reading of it. And another part of you is saying, yeah, but I need everything balanced. My body, my finances, the situation that I'm in emotionally has to be right for this. So that could be one reading of it, but if not, it's about bringing something into life. So real life or not, but look, they're really slightly very different characters. One in a natural world, the other between these pillars. I think that these two ways of acting are is why at the basis we see this. We see, was that upside down? I don't think it matters. We see the Four of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. One part of you wanting to stay stuck, keep things as they are, the other wanting to start with this birth. It is interesting, it really could be a birth, because the Ace of Pentacles can mean birth. And the fact that it's here with the Empress, really someone could be making a big decision about whether or not to have a baby. And the other side of you is saying, no, I want things to stay as they are. I don't know that I can go through that journey. I'd have to give up so much. I'd have to change so much. And somehow you don't want to do that. If it's not an actual birth, obviously that's not going to relate to most people here. Well, I don't know. It depends on how many people watch. I mean, it's interesting at the beginning of a new channel. You don't know. Maybe you're reading for just 1 or 2 people. I don't know. It's interesting how it works. If not, please let me know if anyone's trying to get pregnant. I'd be really interested. If not, it's about something that would be like a birth, that you would be giving birth to, that you feel a little bit stuck in the energy. You don't want to give up on your position in order to start this new project. So it's either a real birth or something that the Empress would be concerned with mothering, birth, bringing forth some creative, beautiful project. In the recent past, we can see you alighting on what you want. So with the Three of Wands, he does know what he wants. It's not the Two of Wands where you're not sure, you know you need to make a move and you're looking, but the Three of Wands has found something and he's either waiting for those ships to come in or he wants to go towards it. So I wonder whether you decided recently that pregnancy or a new project was something that you really had to focus on. What can I see here? Yeah, how golden everything is. So whatever it is you're thinking about feels very golden. You can only see the good side in it, really. It felt when you alighted on it like the most amazing idea ever. And it's always interesting how he's gripping one wand, but the other two stand so firmly behind him in his ballet stance with his feet. And in these, I'm just checking. It's interesting also as well, because if you stay stuck here, behind you, your scenario is that of a city, okay? That's where you're staying, in an urban environment, which sort of is like man-made ideas, man-made laws. And if you move, if you go with this new project, birth, whatever it is, you're taken on much more of a kind of epic journey up to those mountains, but through the garden, into nature. And of course here, he's looking out to the sea, so he is looking at nature, I think, even though there are ships there. And of course, nature is represented by her, and I would say that the city was ruled by justice. So you're sort of, it's not, someone could be deciding whether or not to move somewhere, like to go to a countryside place, and that might be where your next project would be. But it could also just be that whatever it is that you're considering allowing to take root in your life and that you might need to tend to is to do with bigger natural laws, okay? It's not about our man-made laws. It would be moving into the mystery of nature somehow, like pregnancy is, like travel, or you'd be working with the mysteries. Nature I consider to be like that. I don't know, you can't get pregnant and really understand what's going on. Of course you can understand it from a scientific point of view, but where does that soul come from? So equally, if you have this amazing new idea, it might feel magical like that. Now, where's it all going? One potential outcome is a wish fulfillment. I love this. It does make me think a bit of the justice, because there's a cloth. It's sort of interesting how these cloths, here the cloth is not really hiding anything, but it indicates, it must be hiding something, mustn't it? And it indicates regal, purple, regal concerns. But it also reminds us of the High Priestess's cloth. So there is always a sense of what's behind the cloth. And again here, what's behind his cloth? What is he's so happy and everything, but what's behind that cloth? And that strange tall shelf that holds all of those cups on it. You know, it's like the rainbow of the Ten of Cups, but it's held up by a man-made shelf with man-made drapes. In this case, I think that shows you compromising, I would say, erring on the side of justice, erring on the side of the city, the laws of the city, by which we've got the root of this staying a little bit where you are. Although it might mean a wish fulfillment in some sort, because things are stable, he's very happy, he's the bon vivant, he's not challenging himself particularly, things are coming easily to him. We still do want to know what's behind that cloth. Again, what's behind that cloth? It's interesting, he's covered in the purple of that cloth, isn't he? What's that about? The one that's staying stuck that I think relates to this choice, the choice to keep things in the kind of city rules, the rules you understand, not allowing this kind of mystery of pregnancy and mystery to kind of birth to come in, and that doesn't just mean an actual birth. You understand what I'm saying? Allowing the divine to enter into this new project, because after all, the divine is what hands you your pentacle, right? So there is an element of something you can't control in it. Here he's wrapped in her cloth, and he's saying, no, no, I take these rules. And maybe what we're saying here is once you take the cloth round and you wrap it round yourself, because it is similar what he's got underneath, it shows the city behind, man-made city, the laws of us, you know, to avoid somehow or pushing out the laws of nature. And again, then we have the Nine of Cups. So the cloth's back up again. It feels as if there is always an element with this card that there is wish fulfillment. There's something a little bit hollow about it, a tiny bit. That's how it's turning up to me today. As if to say, yeah, like a drunkenness to it. It's fun and everything, but I don't know, there's something missing, and I want to know what's behind that cloth, and I suspect it's not all that it's made up to be somehow. Interesting, isn't it? It's kind of dressing. It's like when I do events, which is my other job. It's like the dressing that you would put up. We put up drapes. We put up drapes, this is it. We put up drapes to hide stuff that is not so pretty and to create illusion and create depth. And they're very effective. But they're dressing, they're theatre dressing, aren't they? They're what you have in front of a stage. They're what you have to drape off ugly corners in events. I don't know. I think you'd be hiding some element of that deal that you wouldn't be so keen on somehow. Just waiting for someone to get out their car so I don't talk in front of them. But anyway, maybe I just carry on. So, coming up in the near future, we've got the King of Pentacles. You thinking about solidifying your finances, being very steady, creating good structures. What can I see in this today? These such pretty little pink flowers right in the corner. Can you see those? They're really lovely, very spring-like. I've never really looked at those. I'm always interested in this head that he's got his foot on. It's as if it's a ley line, I always see it as, because it's like a dragon's head. It's as if he's an interesting figure, the King of Pentacles, because he is sort of in harmony with nature. Though he's in his castle and there are buildings behind him, he's so sort of covered in nature. And grapes, I think, mean, you know, accomplishments. But look at the kind of wildness of that. Hi. Look at the wildness of those vines behind there. It feels like there is a slight nature takeover, which we slightly see in the Four of Pentacles. Again, a very steady card, because look at this. Do you see the nature takeover that's going on top of that building? There's some, I mean, it could be a roof garden, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like an abandoned tower that is somehow being reclaimed by nature. And there's a bit of that going on as well. So that makes me relate this to that, because it's a similar situation, right? So here, in the near future, you have yourself sort of considering this position of staying put, but you're veering on the side of, even though you're looking after all the resources, keeping everything very steady, which is what he wants to do as well. Here, there's so much nature involved, and it's almost like you're on that tower. Maybe that's what she meant, who knows? The tower with the nature takeover, with the greenery on top of it. Maybe that's where he is. To understanding in a way that true wealth does sort of wind in that idea of allowing in the magic of what we're doing here, you know, the bit that you can't control, you can't predict, that's not man-made. So in the near future, considering your wealth, considering your stability, but also allowing he's a wise king who understands nature as well. So allowing that narrative in. There's a little pigeon up there. The sun's still with us, just about. Your attitude, you want to get out of rough waters with all that you've learned, into all your wisdom that's in those swords that you've got proudly displayed in the boat, all the parts of you. It's a family, so it sort of indicates lots of different sides to your inner child, masculine and feminine. This could be ego, superego, I don't know, but it indicates all parts of yourself going somewhere safer. It's interesting because initially you were like that, weren't you, looking for the ships to come in. Now it's as if there's a sort of wisdom that comes into this situation where, because of this big dilemma, do I allow this new growth? Do I keep things as they are? I mean, it could also mean that you've decided in the basis that you will allow the new growth, but you have to keep safe while you're doing it. That's interesting. That could be a reading of this. So it might be that you can't deny this new growth, and you are keeping safe, and that in fact the King of Pentacles is working with nature to keep you safe, regardless of what your position is, whether you're trying to stay stuck or whether you're going through to it but trying to keep things very stable. Your attitude is, I've got to get out of the rough waters of this indecision, or this feeling that change, this new birth, whatever it is so sort of disruptive in a way to me that I need to sort of learn everything I can about this process and get myself into a kind of calmer sense with the whole thing. Your environment is one of cooperation, which I love. Just seeing if anything stands out on the Six of Swords. Just those three slats that he stands over and the kid sits on and the mum sits on, a bit like the three wands. So maybe it does still relate to that Three of Wands, trying to get into safer waters. And again, now another three we have here in your environment, the Three of Pentacles. You have people and parts of yourself that want to work together in this new enterprise. If it's a pregnancy, that you have a partner or people who would support you. If it's something in yourself, your environment is one which is supportive and where you can grow and build this new project, whatever it is. Anything that steps out to me there. Only that the wall weirdly looks a bit like a drape again, doesn't it? But he's hammering it, so we know it's not. But it's got that feeling of pleating and draping. But maybe because now it's being made more secure, and there's a sense in which it's not hiding anything. Now we're talking about stone walls, a proper structure. And your hopes and fears is you want clarity from this not being clear with the Seven of Cups. Queen of Swords is one of the clearest, probably there's two or three very clear, the King and the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Swords. She's incredibly clear. She's incredibly unfussy in her thinking. She says it like it is. She's incredibly intelligent. So your hopes and fears would be, I think, to raise your sword of truth and know which option to go for, whether to stay stuck or whether to move forward, and with this new project, to be clear about how you want to move it forward as well. Is there anything that stands out here in particular? The pile of jewels. And on the Queen, she looks a tiny bit worried, which she normally doesn't. That's the last thing that she really is. She's not a worried character. It's interesting because she's wearing a little red bracelet, and I've had on in the background a television program called The Rookie today, which is just something I just put on because it's kind of nice situational cop drama. But it's interesting because there's a character in it who is pregnant. She's a cop in the season that I'm watching, and she's a hard-bitten cop like they all are, but she's a nice woman as well. And she's her big adversary, but also somebody that she sort of grudgingly admires because she's a powerful woman, is a mafia boss, but a female mafia boss. And they connect over the love of their children, the unborn child and the son. And she wears, her husband says to her, "You're not superstitious, are you?" And she holds up her wrist and she said, "I'm just wearing a protection that I was given by the head of a cartel." And it's a red, beautiful piece of sort of twine or rope that looks exactly like that. and it's meant to protect her. So because I'm seeing that, it's strange, and it's such a sort of random little detail. It's not a big part. I'm not ruining anything for anyone. But so I think that the Queen has still got a mind to protecting the idea of this project, this birth, whatever it is, and that she hopes to pick that and to be clear about how she's picking and what's coming to your outcome. You jump in and you compete, you get involved in life. With the Five of Wands, what's going on here? I'm looking at all their little faces. There's only one whose face we can't see. And interestingly, he's wearing the blue and white. A bit like him, the one with his back to us. Everyone else, we can really see what they're thinking, and they're sort of enjoying it. And they sort of create quite a kind of fun structure, don't they, with those? So one guy's got his hand off the frame. So we don't know what he's got in his other hand, the one with the yellow arm that goes off. I wonder whether that's got anything to do with the story. Right, let's cap it. We're gonna have a card from the Enchanted Tarot to see whether there's a part of the reading. Oh, I've left a couple of the cards behind. The sun has finally gone behind the buildings over there. Let's see. 3 cards. The 9 of Visions. 4 cards. The 4 of Boons, which is the 4 of Pentacles again. The oldest one and the Wise Woman. So that's the Hierophant, the High Priestess, the 4 of Boons, which is one of your potential positions, and the 9 of Visions. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to read little précis from all of those. So let's start with the Hierophant, which is in this card. This one is called, this is one of the majors, the oldest one. So at a glance, teaching, traditions, religion and mythology, wise counsel, true authority and expertise. Well, that sort of reminds me of justice, because it's saying that you really want to get this right, that there is a sense in which you can't just jump into it with both feet without knowing that you're doing the right thing. Doing the right thing seems super important to you. The oldest one reminds us to have historical perspective is reassuring in times of trouble, and having a mythological or religious perspective helps us find meaning in our lives. Tales, legends and laws have been handed down from generation to generation because they're a vital part of our shared humanity. Yeah, I just think that's part of the energy that you really want to wind into it. But now we've got the Wise Woman as well. And the Wise Woman does have a relationship in the normal tarot. The High Priestess has a relationship to the Justice because she also has 2 pillars. Hers are black and white, but she's also about a truth, a wisdom. But in this case, it's more of a mystical one. So the Wise Woman here says wisdom again, spirituality, mysticism. The other card was, what was it in its? Teaching, traditions, religion and mythology, wise counsel. Here we have wisdom, spirituality and mysticism, oracular advice, seeing the unseen, lifting the veil. The Wise Woman card confirms there's a core of deep knowing within you, but this may need spiritual guidance to access it. Well, we've got the spiritual guidance turning up there with the wise, the oldest one. Wisdom takes time and devotion, patience, and above all, willingness to accept and commit to the path you choose. The Wise Woman accept and commit to the path you choose. The Wise Woman doesn't argue with oracles, and neither should you. Just read the signs, they're everywhere. Okay, that might help. It's saying that there are signs everywhere, that you can contact those, that if you need to feel that this is in right order, that you have great intuition and there are signs coming to you, okay? So those 2. And then we have, talking about your resistance here, the 4 of Boons. This will be interesting. Another look at that resistance, the wanting to keep it the same. So let's have a look. This is a bunch of goblins. They've made a load of pies and they don't want to sell them. Greed. Poverty consciousness, hoarding, fearful attachment to material possessions, Trolls are very fond of money, though they have little opportunity to actually spend it. Their avaricious nature drives them to try many schemes for increasing their wealth. These troll wives have set up a pie stand offering lovely things to hungry travellers, but they can't bring themselves to actually give up any of their pies. They scold all their customers away and sit moodily among far more pies than they could ever eat. When you run into the troll wives, it means someone is feeling overly attached to material possessions. That's interesting. Fear of scarcity distorts reality, so that however much you have, it may seem like not enough. This can lead to hoarding, literally or emotionally. Give up the greed to find peace of mind. Let someone else have some pie. There's plenty for all. You know, that could play into whatever it is you're intending to bring into the world. Of course, children cost money, but new projects can cost money. They cost time, which can cost money. 9 of Visions, the final one from this deck, says, circumstances aligned in your favour, faith in positive outcome, wish fulfillment, good fortune. Okay, so that is actually the 9 of Cups again as one of your outcomes. That's amazing. So we've got 2 4 of Pentacles, effectively, and 2 9 of Cups. So it is saying, don't hoard, get into your wisdom, because you can actually have your wish come true. This is a wishing card. It signifies your wish will come true. As often as the case with forest enchantment, there's a catch. The wish must be true. That's kind of saying what I was saying, which is what's behind that. He's so happy and everything, but make sure that what's behind that cloth is right for you, okay? So the catch is the wish must be true. You must want it, visualize it, and believe it's yours. Frivolous wishes can have undesired results, and half-hearted wishes are ignored by the magic well. Take your time and decide what you want. Don't waste your wish. That's good advice, isn't it? If you really want to go for this new start, if it's a baby, if it's a new thing, anything that you want to grow and nurture, you need to make sure you really want it. And you have the wisdom there to make sure that maybe that's your justice is coming in to give you that kind of perspective. Let's make sure we're not just rushing at this idea. Oh, I left half the cards here, so that's not going to work. Right, there's more. Now we're going to look at the Rachel Pollock Shining Tribe Tarot. What have we got here? 10 of Birds. Okay, that's lovely. I think that's quite a punchy card. Let's have a look what they're bringing us. 10 of Birds. Discoveries, either of actual information or things imagined, worries, anxieties, obsessions, or a sense of being overwhelmed by many issues and obligations, powerful dreams, suspicions, or other half-understood thoughts and imaginings. The quality of fantastic vision in this card recalls the 7 of Rivers with its wondrous journeys. Here the birds confront us with ideas and feelings we'd prefer not to see. It's making a nod to your fear, okay? We understand this is frightening, but it's kind of saying that they're not true. The sight disturbs, this is a woman looking at angels, but the sight disturbs her because it appears so detached from the person's ordinary life. We see this in the way the mountaintop floats in the air. I don't see that. Unattached from the earth. Oh, I see, yes, in the middle, right in the middle. It may be, in fact, a glimpse of paradise, which Dante imagined as a mountain that had reached into heaven. If we see such a vision but do not know how to integrate it into our lives, it can deeply disturb us. In a reading, the other cards may show us ways to grasp the reality or unreality of these messages and bring them into some sort of useful form. It's saying that you're frightened and you've got to work out whether your fears are founded or not, but they're suggesting they're not there. Let's take some oracles and see whether we can clarify that before we go to the teeny tiny tarot. Oh, that was from a different deck, so I'm not going to take that. It was Tribal Spirit Dancer, but let's take one from this deck instead. Raven Spirit, Truth. That's what you're on the search for with your Wise One, your Justice, with the High Priestess. You're looking for truth, and that is a very wise raven that we've got there. So there is a sense in which truth is going to come to you. You don't need to worry too much. And also the truth that would stop you worrying unnecessarily, as in with that last card from the Shining Tribe. Thunderdrum. Yeah, there could be some sort of revelation. Look, he's like one of those figures. He's appearing to me like a figure from the Judgment card today, rising up. So there is a sense in which you might suddenly understand what you're doing and have a revelation, and it could be about truth. It's funny, as I'm looking into the sky, there are all these chemtrails that look a bit like the patterns that these Five of Wands make. I wonder what that's about. Strange how you start saying movement. Okay, once you get the truth, you can have some movement. I love it. Let's take, because I've got them here, we'll give you one extra, which is from this Divine Muses Oracle. So give us some sort of clarity about this big decision that, Aries and baby bird people, because I can hear a baby bird. So what have we got here? Muse of Hymns. Let's see, they're slightly difficult to see, especially as the light starts to fade. Let's see what she's about. A Muse of Hymns. Muse of Hymns, 225. Sacred music, meditation, divine connection. Many hymns is the Greek muse of sacred music. She's Polyhymnia, that's her name, divine hymns and prayer. She's solemn and wise, like your high priestess, like the justice, like the wise one, like all those characters that are turning up for you, the Hierophant. She's often seen as pensive and reflective. She's the muse of sacred dance as well. Basically, she's a channel for all the creative ways we can utilise to connect to the divine realm. So you're being told through music, maybe through kirtan it's talking about here, or some sort of chanting, that you could connect to your wisdom. Another message, that's the shadow. No, this card may ask us that we explore sacred geometry. That's interesting, because we do have the three in your environment. We have this lovely cathedral being built, and there's a lot of sacred geometry in cathedrals, obviously. And also there are certain cathedrals, like the one up in Scotland, the name totally escapes me at the moment, I'll try and put it in the notes, where they think that the corbels and all the carvings on the stones actually is, you know, when you put music onto a drum and there's sand on it and you vibrate the music, it creates these beautiful shapes. They think that there's kind of tones and notes have been put throughout the walls of this church, which is called Roslin Chapel. That's it, I don't need to put it in the notes. So it might be some sort of sacred music really could help you in your environment. So it's talking about geometric patterns and shapes. Pay attention to divine designs. If one has been reappearing for you, there's a sacred message from that geometric form that has significance. I love it. It's deep reflection. It says that you have got access to some wisdom. Right, let's get a final word from the teeny tiny Rider Waite. Is there anything that we need to look at that will help make this decision clear? Four of Cups. I don't want to take the decision. I don't want to take it. But it came with 4 others. And the Hierophant again, which you had in your Enchanted Forest. The High Priestess, which you had in the Enchanted Forest. Wow, the King of Cups and the Knight of Cups. That's so beautiful. Okay, I understand. It's saying, we know you don't want to take this, but it's not just another 4 that's not just you trying to stay stuck, but it's saying this is a divine gift, okay? It's coming from the divine, like the hand that comes from the divine here to offer you this. Don't say no to it. The advice of this card is always grab it. This is a great, you might have what you think you want, but actually there's more. And the way that you're going to resolve yourself is to get deep into your intuition that's already turned up to you, for you, deep into this Hierophant energy, which came as the wise one in a kind of slightly more palatable form of the kind of forest version of it. Deep knowing and wisdom. And when you do that and you feel your emotions like the King of Cups would, and be emotionally mature about them, then you can take the action of, in this case, offering your Grail cup of love. But I think it means making a move with that Grail cup, doing what your heart would want. Now, I don't know what your heart would want, so that's going to have to be your decision. I've got a guess, but I think you're going to have to decide. What a great reading. Meditation through geometric shapes that could be turning up, kirtan, sacred music, maybe church if that's your thing, or some sort of, worship, whatever your temple, whatever your synagogue, whatever your religion, or maybe it's just a beautiful forest. There is going to be answers for you. Get into that meditative state. See you again.